Why do we fight? Is it to prove something to the world? To ourselves? And when we fought our entire lives, do we even remember why we started fighting in the first place? Those are the questions that drive Ryan Coogler's 2015 boxing movie, Creed, a return to Sylvester Stallone's long-running Rocky franchise from a new perspective, but with a focus that echoes why we love these stories of fighters trying to prove themselves with not just their fists, but their hearts. Creed isn't just about the drive to fight, but understanding what we fight for. It's about learning to pick yourself up and go another round, not only when you've been knocked down, but when the end is nowhere in sight. Creed follows Michael B. Jordan's Adonis Johnson, the son of late boxing heavyweight champ Apollo Creed, and Donnie, Creed's son from an affair and born after his death in the ring, looks to prove himself as a boxer too. But raw talent can only take him so far. So Donnie moves from LA to Philadelphia to be trained by the great Rocky Balboa, falls in love with Tessa Thompson's Bianca, and together, they fight. After 6 Rocky movies, Creed acted as a way to breathe new life into a franchise that had finally come to a close, letting Sylvester Stallone's Rocky act as the mentor to a new generation, and for Jordan's Donnie to become the heir to a franchise beloved by millions. But to me, Creed is much more than just a way for the legend of Rocky to find new life. To me, Creed is one of the best sports movies ever, one of the best movies of the 2010s, and from its deeply emotional approach to fighting, to its realistic, intimate portrayals of Black lives, to beautiful, inspirational messages of fighting for the right reasons, Creed is an inspiration to be better, to fight harder, to be stronger for the people we love. As an heir to the franchise, Creed is a Rocky movie. There's a formula to the Rocky movies, and really any sports movie that takes inspiration from them. You have an underdog with something to prove, an Act 1 fight that pushes them along in their journey, an Act 2 that sets up the final challenge, an Act 3 training montage that gets the protagonist and audience ready for battle, and a climactic match that helps them overcome the personal issues they faced. In the end, winning or losing matters less than growing as a person. All those hallmarks are present in Creed, right down to Donnie being picked to fight thanks to his name, just like Creed once picked out Rocky. And while the Rocky movies became more and more cartoonish over time, Stallone's original movie is a quiet, human, deeply inspirational story. And that's what Coogler and co-writer Aaron Covington are channeling in every moment throughout Creed. And what they're focused on the most is that original film story of one fighter's journey. Rocky didn't believe in his own worth. Donnie doesn't believe in his own inherent value. Rocky had Adrian. Donnie and Bianca find each other. But Donnie isn't just looking to prove himself as a boxer, he's fighting to prove himself worthy of his father's name. While he goes by Adonis Johnson, Donnie's work with the reluctant Rocky as his trainer quickly leads to the media finding out that he is Apollo's son. And while Donnie was adopted out of juvenile hall by Apollo's widow Marianne, the wonderful Felicia Rashad, that attention and being pushed to use the Creed name as a boxer means that Donnie absolutely has to confront his relationship with his father. That's the central struggle of Creed. How can a son reconcile with a father he's never known? How can someone become their own person when everything about them is defined by someone else? There's this incredible beating heart filled with emotion throughout Creed. It makes me cry in so many moments, no matter how many times I've watched it. And that's because Coogler has a deeply personal relationship to the Rocky franchise. It was his own father that introduced him to Rocky movies, watching them over and over, only for Coogler to eventually learn that his own father watched Rocky 2 again and again with his own mother, sick and eventually dying from cancer. Later, Coogler's father himself would struggle with a near-fatal disease. He was having trouble getting around, having trouble carrying stuff, said Coogler. I started thinking about this idea of my dad's mortality. For me, he was kind of like this mythical figure, my father, similar to what Rocky was for him. Going through it inspired me to make a film that told a story about his hero going through something similar to kind of motivate him and cheer him up. That's how I came up with the idea for this movie. Fathers battling disease, sons searching for identity in their relationship with their father. It's all there in every moment of Creed. So much of this movie is about Donnie trying to understand and connect with the father that passed away before he was even born. And this is a struggle for a lot of people who have missing fathers in their lives. Whether they're absentee, deceased, or just not very good, having a parent that is essentially gone from your life means that any child will need to resolve their issues with a father or mother before they can more fully become their own person. person. This is why Creed means more than just being a great marketing hook for a movie in the Rocky franchise. That name hangs over this entire film. This is Donnie's challenge, to live up to the legacy of a father that's larger than life. But how can he take on a name that means so much, not only to him, but to the entire world? Carl Weathers' Apollo may be absent from the film, but he's felt everywhere. Early on, Donnie shadowboxing the video of his father says everything you need to know about this character. He's not only studied everything there is to know about his father, but he sees himself in a constant battle with him, even if he denies it.
I don't know him. Ain't got nothing to do with me.
Donnie is raw talent, propelled by anger and a drive to prove himself. And this is where Rocky comes in. He may be completely done with boxing, but the guilt he feels over Apollo's death pushes him to mentor Donnie. Of course, this is Rocky far removed from his boxing days, and Stallone plays him as wearier, worn out, but wiser. It's Rocky who brings some joy, a new sense of family into Donnie's life, and greater balance. While Bianca, who faces her own struggle of progressive hearing loss, opens herself up to love, while Donnie does the same. The Rocky movies are beloved because we love Rocky, we love Adrian, we love Mickey, hell, we even love Paulie and his damn robot. And in Creed, we love Donnie, we love Bianca, and we still love Rock. When they fight, we can't help but root for them. The boxing matches of Creed are the external embodiment of these struggles, but all of Creed is about the fight that comes from simply being alive. Speaking of the legacy of Rocky that courses through Creed, I have to talk about composer Ludwig Göransson's score. Göransson takes all the pounding drums and horns of Bill Conti's classic score and filters them through a modern, more subdued lens. It's all here, and it feels like the score itself is cheering on Donnie, fighting harder, fighting stronger. But that iconic Rocky theme isn't here, at least not yet. Also, I just have to say, this story about a young man defined by his famous boxer father who was killed when he was young, which defines his anger-driven life and search for meaning, yeah, Creed is a Daredevil movie, but I'm getting off track here. Boxing movies dominate the sports film genre. Even as boxing has declined in mainstream popularity, the boxing movie has been a mainstay. Why is that? Every sports movie is about more than sports. Really, they're all metaphors for everyday life, and boxing is the most visceral, one-to-one metaphor of them all. The physical struggle, the underdog stories, the literal confrontations that stand in for emotional ones. The great boxing movies intertwine the emotional struggle with the physical one until they're the same. And this is exactly where so much of Creed's power comes from. Creed finds adult Donnie fighting on his own in Mexico. No trainer, no official win record, but his drive, his anger, it's all there right from the start. How Donnie fights and how he trains illustrate his growth as a person. Eventually, the classic Rocky training montages become Donnie's own, and the result is that Coogler shows a time-worn classic through a distinct black lens. The Philadelphia of Creed feels lived in. You can feel the past in these walls and streets. It's a sharp contrast to the Los Angeles we see. Donnie may not be from Philly, but it becomes his second home over the course of the movie. Coogler and cinematographer Maurice Alberti give Philly a layer of grit and dirt, inky shadows, rust and bricks that fill the homes, but also a sense of internal warmth that contrasts the cold streets. It's a tough town, but not a mean town, and eventually it sees Donnie as one of its own.
And I heard you Apollo Creed, son.
Yeah.
What's up?
And that's perfectly embodied in Donnie's final training montage, with Rocky undergoing chemotherapy for a cancer diagnosis, and Creed both fighting their own battles. We see them grow stronger together. We see Philly rally around Donnie, and then we fly. Watching the movies, I always loved Apollo, said Coogler. I never saw him as a villain. It might be because I'm a black man myself, so I related to him every time he came on screen. He was kind of everything you wanted to be. He was smart and business savvy and incredibly athletic and confident and very knowledgeable. He was very much inspired by Muhammad Ali, and Muhammad Ali is like a god in the black community, especially in the community of black athletes like I was myself. I related to Apollo so much, man. Coogler loves long takes and tracking shots. Sure, it can be flashy, but I believe it's that it gives him a chance to bring a greater sense of intimacy to his characters. It's a signature of his work, and that intimacy gives a sense of real life and normalcy to the tragic true story of Oscar Grant in Fruitvale Station. It brings out the personal struggles of T'Challa and Black Panther, and it puts Donnie's personal connections to Rocky and Bianca front and center throughout Creed. We really feel the warmth and closeness of Donnie and Bianca's time together. We see the father figure character of Rocky grow in Donnie's life. It's moments of intimacy and emotional vulnerability, with a lot of handheld camera work providing a greater sense of authenticity to how these amazing performances are captured. It's exactly what Donnie needs to become his own distinct Creed. It also makes Creed's fights feel intensely real. A boxer has to be in the moment to win, laser-focused, sharp as a blade. The boxing of Creed is intense because Coogler commits to realism in his choreography. We're a long way away from the unprotected haymakers of the first Rocky. Every punch hurts here. The sweat, the blood, the panting breaths. Coogler's intimate focus in the ring means that the love and tenderness of the scenes outside the ring are flipped on their head inside the ropes. Now, we go to battle. Donnie's first match with Rocky as his trainer plays out in one single 4-minute-long tracking shot, with Coogler's camera placed between the combatants, whipping back and forth as the damage piles up on both of them. That close range makes us feel like we're in the fight too, as each boxer's hands fly past us. It's visceral, it's brutal, but above all, it's intimate in focus. And in Creed's big fight with Ricky Conlan, we see every cut and bruise in detail. The damage is so brutal that Donnie has to have a greater motivation than simply winning a title. He has to ask himself that question that's followed him this entire movie. Why does he fight? You could say that Donnie is in a fight with everybody at some point in Creed. His mother, his father, Bianca, Rocky, his opponents in the ring, and of course, himself. When Donnie says he's been fighting his whole life, he means it. And when you've been fighting for so long, it can be easy to forget why you started fighting in the first place.
He's a good kid. He just fights. All the time.
But it's only Rocky who can force Donnie to confront himself.
You see this guy here staring back at you?
Yeah?
That's your toughest opponent. Every time you get into the ring, that's who you're going against. I believe that in boxing, and I do believe that in life.
Like every great boxing movie, Creed's climactic fight with Donnie versus Ricky Conlan for the World Heavyweight Championship is the encapsulation of this story's entire struggle. Donnie is reconciled with his mother through her gift of trunks that resemble Apollo's. Johnson on one side, Creed on the other. Donnie has reconciled with and supported both Bianca and Rocky in their own struggles before he can be ready for his match. And while it's Conlan that Donnie physically fights, it's his father he's struggling with. Knocked down harder than ever, it isn't visions of family, love, or training that wake him up. It's his father. The fights of Creed are, of course, incredible, but its emotional arc comes from Donnie finally stopping fighting for just a moment and being honest about why he fights all the time. That's the big question of Creed. Why does he fight, even when there's nothing left to prove? And near the end, just before the final round of the fight against Conlan, Donnie comes clean about why.
I gotta prove it.
Prove what?
I'm not a mistake.
Donnie's entire journey has led him here, not to a championship, but to confronting his greatest doubts about himself, and finally, fully knowing that he is worthy of being loved. Only then can the Rocky theme kick in as we cheer on Adonis Creed.
I'm gonna knock that son of a bitch down.
I know you are. You know why? Because you're a Creed, and I love you, kid.
Life is tough. There's no mistaking that. And I guarantee that you will be knocked down again and again as long as you're standing. But finding value in life isn't just about the strength to get up over and over and over. It's about knowing why we get up. It's for ourselves. It's for our family. It's for making a better world. That's the beauty of Creed. If Adonis can get up, you can get up too. And when you start to doubt yourself, remember this. You're not a mistake. However you got here, whatever you faced, you have worth. You are loved. Your life has so much value. Keep fighting for it. Thanks for watching today's video. I know I rarely talk about sports movies on my channel, but I just absolutely love Creed. It's easily one of my favorite movies, and it's definitely one of my favorite movies of the last decade. And there's something about this time of year that always makes me want to rewatch the movie. I think that's because Creed originally came out around Thanksgiving, and we're almost at Thanksgiving here in the United States. So just a few weeks ago, I rewatched Creed and immediately needed to talk about this movie. I'm also a big fan of the Rocky movies in general, having watched them all thanks to my dad. and I've watched them again and again and again, but I have to say, personally, Creed is my favorite of the entire extended franchise. I also really enjoy Creed 2. It is a little bit more of the same, but I just really love Donnie and Bianca and Rocky. So of course I like Creed 2 also. And I'm looking forward to Creed 3 when that comes out. Really, they could just keep making these movies for a really long time and they'll have me as a fan. As I mentioned, there's just something very special about boxing movies. And while I enjoy a lot of sports movies, I think that boxing movies in particular are very, very special. And of course, Rocky stands at the top, along with something like Raging Bull, but that is a very unconventional boxing movie. What are your thoughts on Creed, the Rocky franchise, boxing movies, or sports movies in general? I'd love to hear your thoughts about the franchise, so let me know in the comments below. As always, I'd like to give a special shout out to my patrons. Thank you for your continued support. And if you'd like to support me on Patreon, it's only $1 a month for early access to every video and access to exclusive audio-only reviews. And by the time this video is out, I will have put out a Patreon-only review of Immortal Hulk all the way up through its finale. And if you're watching this video around the time that it was published, you'll know that we're almost at December, and that means that Darecember is finally upon us. My annual month-long deep dive into Daredevil comics. So I hope that you will join me on this journey back to the Man Without Fear. Until then, I hope that you're taking care of yourselves and watching out for one another. See you again soon.